Welcome back to DIY No Need to Cry with Ivelisse. Let's get started. Hi, my crafty fam, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. Today, I'll be showing you the different levels of the cracking effect that can be created on any project. My canvases will be 3 of these wine bottles, and I will be using these beautiful laser printouts to decoupage with. The first thing I always do is to decide what color paints I will use to create the crackle. I always choose the color that pops out of the design to be the color of the cracks, and the lightest to be the top layer. Once you have your colors picked out, you can begin by giving your project a coat of the base color you have chosen. Remember, this is the color that will show through the cracks. For this bottle, I chose this Hot Rod Red. This is the laser printout that will go on this bottle. It will complement the image perfectly, enhancing all the red highlights. I will be using English Ivy Green to paint this bottle. This shade will complement the darker tones and blend well with any cracks in the design. For the last bottle, I will use the shade Territorial Beige. It will be the final color. I will not be adding any cracks to this one because I want to show you how a laser printout looks on one without the crackle effect. Once they're all dry, it's time to create the crackle effect using Elmer's glue and the lighter shade of paint you chose. I will be using Beachcomber Beige for this one. You want to use a coarse paintbrush to apply a thin layer of Elmer's glue. The key to this is to spread it as much as possible before adding more. Once you have a section done, brush the paint over the glue. Try not to go heavy on this step and avoid going over it as much as possible. Sit that in front of a fan and it will continue to crack as it dries. Repeat the same steps to complete the other half. For this bottle, I used light mocha. Before I decoupaged the images onto the bottle, I prepped them. I trimmed this one very close to the roses, leaving no background. For this one, I left some of the background. And I left this one whole. I wanted to show you that you can choose to use either the whole image or just a part of it. Paying attention to these little details will impact the final result of your work. Now it's time to decoupage them onto the bottles. I'll start with the basic bottle design. For this one, I will use the basic decoupage steps. For the last 2, I will follow the same process, but with the addition of wetting the laser cutouts before I decoupage them onto the bottles. Wetting the printouts makes the decoupage process easier. However, I didn't wet the first one because the bottle only had 2 layers of matte paint, and it would have taken it off. If you want to take an extra step, you could seal the bottle with a layer of Mod Podge before decoupaging, or use a glossy base paint instead, and then you would be able to wet the printout. The last 2 bottles were painted using Elmer's glue, which provides a protective coating. That's why I'm able to wet the cutouts. Once they're all dry, you can leave them as is or take the crackle to the next level by adding more details. That's what I'll be demonstrating on this bottle. I added antique gold, more English ivy green, and a hint of hot rod red to age it. I incorporated some of the cracks from the bottle onto the image and vice versa. I did this to integrate the design. I kept adding to this bottle for 20 minutes until I was happy with the results. In another video, I can show you the results of working on a bottle for an hour. If you're interested in seeing that, please let me know in the comments below. Lastly, seal them with a coat of Mod Podge and add crafting felt to the bottom to complete them. Here they are, all finished. Looking at them side by side, you can see how the subtle differences in details can change the overall appearance. It's clear that the more time and effort you put into your designs, the bolder and more beautiful it will turn out. The appearance of your project depends on its nature. You may want a neat and tidy look or a style that falls in between, like the one on the right. Either way, you have a lot of options. I used laser printouts, but if I had used paper napkins, you would be able to see the cracks through the paper napkins, which really takes the crackle effect to the next level. But you may not want the whole design to have crackles in it. Regardless of the project, you have lots of choices. That's it for this video. I hope that it was helpful and that it inspired you to create something of your own. Just as long as you remember to have fun, be creative, and make a mess.